first of all, we're going to touch on the heavyweight division first, and then we'll come on to the upcoming fights.
Oh boy!
So,
I wish I had an outline. There's so much.
Give you a heads up, yeah. Should give you a heads up. But what I'll do is I will get up the I'll get up that event. Anthony Joshua was on it, so let's have a look at the event, and we'll go through the.
Oh man. Okay, so you're going to the event. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so essentially the last stream we did was just before the Day of Reckoning, wasn't it? I think. So I enjoyed the card. I remember we were discussing this, and the more that it took us forever to get through this card, didn't it, in terms of covering it, previewing it, and picking winners. Although I think at one point I said it looks like definitively everyone on the left were heavy favourites and they should really win. And it didn't look like that, which was nice. It's a relief. It's good that it wasn't all just totally one-sided. But I think we could start at the top. You thought that Joshua might have had a bit of work to do and might have been a bit troubled by Wallin, but it wasn't quite the case.
Oh my God. Wow. Anthony Joshua's back, baby.
Yeah. Go on, give us your thoughts briefly on the fight.
Yeah, I think I shared similar opinion, what you just spoke on, that Wallin, we've seen he's is he like the top 5? No, but he's a crafty guy, a guy that gave trouble to one of the best in the division before. Was coming off a big win against a former cruiserweight champion that seemed to fill out fine at heavyweight. And AJ hasn't really looked the same in years. Mm-hmm. We haven't gotten an overall performance. And he said, okay, if you remember the image at the Hellenius, he said, hold my beer. And he beat the living shit out of Otto Wallin. This is the best I've seen Anthony Joshua ever look. That was such a performance. He looked quick. He looked obviously strong, powerful, responsive to anything that was going on in the ring. He looked like a Terminator in there. He looked like a top heavyweight, which is what we've been wanting to see. I've always been a believer that Joshua is a great heavyweight. It's just, it was hard to speak on it when we had fights like the Franklin fight where it took to the last couple rounds for him to really try to turn it on. Yeah. The Hellenius fight, I talked about how beautifully he set up that knockout, but those first 6 rounds, they were kind of trash. So for him to, go ahead, commit to Ben Davison, who people don't really understand, has been working with Joshua, just not as the main trainer, but you've seen, they had a familiarity, and with them together, they produced one of his best performances. Was Wallin a champion? No, never. He wasn't. Like I said, his biggest claim to fame was a loss to Tyson Fury, who is one of the best heavyweights you've seen in the last, couple decades and such. So that he did it better than him, better than anybody. Obviously, Wallin, it was only his second loss. Joshua's back, baby, and the heavyweight division is better with it. Now, if another result would have been different, I think we would have been on fire.
Absolutely, yeah. I was just going to say before we do move on to that next one, Joshua. I mentioned this beforehand where we wasn't too sure whether to say that he was going to win the decision or get a stoppage. And we said that AJ, it looked like he was a bit gun shy. But this time, it wasn't just necessarily being gun shy, but it looked like fluid. It looked less robotic than ever. Everything was just kind of seemed to come to him naturally, and then he had that killer instinct back and got the job done. I think it might have helped that Wallin just didn't really put up much. He seemed, Boz has said it in the chat that he's too timid. I'm not sure if he was just timid. Maybe he was overawed with the occasion, or just didn't know what to do with a fluid Joshua. But yeah, it also, I don't know whether it made Joshua look great or whether it kind of exposed Wallin a little bit, and then it made Tyson Fury's win kind of, come down a few steps. And if that was the case, then certainly Deontay Wilder's performance might have ruined Tyson Fury's wins over Wilder. You know, it's a funny game. It's where, you know, one result can turn the table seemingly sometimes. So it seems that Joshua's now on the up. He's got, you know, he's back. A good stoppage against Wallin. That in turn and maybe put shade on Fury's win over Wallin, and now Deontay Wilder gets beaten comprehensively against Joseph Parker in that. I'm not sure if it was a culminating event, but it was the, you know, definitely the main undercard fight. Give us your thoughts on that one.
Man, talking about Wilder Parker, right?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Just disappointing. We want to see, you know, like you had said it when we were doing a live stream, right? You know, you just want to see competitive fights, and that was not a competitive fight.
Yeah.
That was the disappointment of the night. Deontay Wilder is known for the big right hand. To have Molineux right there connected to him, we've seen him do it over and over and over again. Just one punch. His famous line: "You got to be perfect for 36 minutes. I just got to be perfect for 2 seconds." Well, yeah. Perfection was void that night. He never. I mean, what was that? I have no idea. I mean, he was trying to float like a butterfly. I mean, he just he looked like a fly, basically, that was getting kind of just pushed back. You know, it looked like he was going to get stopped towards the end of the fight, possibly. Gun shy, afraid. That's not Deontay Wilder that we've known. Has Deontay Wilder ever been this great technician? No, not by any means. Like, we can say, well, look. I mean, he has set up his right hand. But there's times where he looks absolutely crazy out there. But he's been right. I just got to be perfect once. We've seen it. Guys convulsing on the ground. Guys look like they're possibly winning the fight. One shot.
Yeah, a lot of times.
And that's what I expected in this fight. It didn't matter. I thought it didn't matter what Joe Parker shows up. A good one, a great one, a bad one, an uneventful fight. Wilder was gonna happen whether he sets it up, right? Whether he sets it up or just reacts, like in the Hellenius fight, like in the Spilska fight, you know, or something like the Ortiz fight, where he's actually calculating, figuring it out, and bam. But no, it never happened. Joe Parker, you proved many wrong. People are calling it upset of the year. Joe Parker, honestly, he should, this fight, because of Wilder, 10 title defenses, the excitement he brought, the situation Wilder was being built up towards, he should be getting an AJ fight. You know, he should be in that mix. But, you know, it doesn't look like that's happening. They're saying Joshua versus Ngannou. Wilder possibly versus Big Bang Zhang, or just they both will be on the card with AJ versus Ngannou. You know, I feel for Joe Parker. That's just not fair. You know, for him to go ahead and 12-0 a former champion that some people, not all, think may be in the Hall of Fame one day. You know, it just isn't fair to Joe Parker. Shout out to Joe Parker. Deserves all the praise, all the glory. And I think that he's not receiving all that. That's just not not good.
Yeah, I agree. It was nice to see him win, because he's a nice guy as well, isn't he? You know, so yeah, like I say, a lot of people probably not giving him enough praise or respect and whatnot. I mean, like I say, he probably should have a Joshua fight, but I'm not sure I want to see it again. I mean, it could only be better than the last one, surely, but
but I'm saying, you 12-0 Wilder.
Oh yeah,
Wilder was being set up to fight Joshua. You just,
you take the spot.
How is that not even been discussed? At least be, you know, presented and kind of, you know, you throw the hook out there in the water.
And what do you make of the Ngannou fight then, if that goes ahead?
Oh, it's official. Crazy.
Oh yeah. It's a money fight, isn't it? Really, you know, he did well against Fury. Fair enough. He knocked him down. This is going to be like, how does Joshua compare?
Ngannou's a huge puncher, obviously, right? Joshua, there's questions about his heart still. There's questions about his chin. You can't really improve chin. You can't really improve heart. I think he has heart. I just don't think, is it like a Deontay Wilder heart? I mean, I guess you got to question Wilder's heart too for that performance, right? I mean, for not really biting down and just going for it. But yeah, I mean, it's scary because if Joshua loses to Ngannou, what the hell do we know about boxing? What is it? You could say Ngannou's a freak. I mean, he is, right? I mean, he's what, 6'5", 280.
Yeah.
Built like a truck, hits like 1-2. Yeah, I don't love the fight. But right, it's just understanding business. And what else is, I mean, I would like to see Joshua versus Big Bang Zhang. Yeah, but I mean, would he rather fight Ngannou for a certain amount of money or fight Big Bang Zhang for a certain amount of money?
Exactly.
It's the ugly truth when it comes to boxing. It's about the money. I wish Zhang brought that big of a check, because that's the better fight for boxing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Competitive part of boxing, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, it's a risk, isn't it? But both of those are risks. Joshua will be expected to beat Ngannou, and it could easily go wrong. But yeah, let's move things along. Jay Apatey got a first round stoppage fine. Bivol coasted to a decision win.
Yeah, coast for sure.
As expected.
Well, I would have said coast. He tried to get him out, man. He just, I don't know.
He probably doesn't have as big a pop as I used to think that he had.
He just doesn't have that killer in him, I guess.
Yeah. We'll discuss Dimitri Bivol on the next live stream after the Beterbiev result, whatever that might be. So we'll just leave that one there for now. This was quite a big upset, wasn't it? Aslanbek Makhmudov got beat, stopped in round 4 by also undefeated Kabiel, German fella. Yeah. I saw that Bozen mentioned earlier that was a big one. I can't find the comment, unfortunately. That was a big shock. Obviously, he's been a big scary monster for a while. Makhmudov, what did you make of that one?
Yeah, I never looked into Kabayel. I knew he had fight with Chisora, but I had remember hearing about that it was a bit like contested, the decision. Mm-hmm. I never looked into him. I thought for sure they were bringing Arslan here just to get a knockout. There you go, right? There you go, Bob. Yeah. Good comment. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't really watch too much of Arslan either. Just, you hear the reputation, you look at the record, you see the knockouts. I think he had every fight but one was a knockout. Takam took him the distance. Takam's known to be a tough competitor. Kabayel was amazing this night. Maybe he's looked at that before, but definitely now he's a top 15 heavyweight, possibly, knocking on top 10.
Yeah.
He looked great. He boxed well. He went to the body well.
Body shots, wasn't it, that did it?
Yeah. And stopped the undefeated monster. I mean, that dude looked like if you created a movie, right? And you need a villain. He could be the main villain or like the final roadblock before you get to the main villain.
To get to the exactly. Yeah, he looks exactly like that. But yeah, I guess he's been humanized a little bit in that loss there. So that's interesting. I think that also shakes things up a bit in that division because Makhmudov was kind of on the up. People were seeing him as a big scary monster, and Kabiel's been around for a while, undefeated, but probably maybe not as taken as seriously, possibly. So yeah, interesting. We'll come on to like the top 10 and stuff in a second. Dubois got a very, 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 very late stoppage against Jarrell Miller. I didn't see these because I was out that night, but so I got back in time for the 2 main events, and I think I saw Bivol and Arthur. But yeah, I didn't see these earlier fights. So Dubois, I believe he was he battering him around mostly? Was there a little bit of a scary part? I can't remember if I read that or not.
I wouldn't say either of those things.
Okay.
Dubois was just sharper and better. Jarrell Miller, we seen him. I mean, look at that, 333 pounds. He was
huge,
what is that?
wasn't
94 pounds heavier. Jarrell Miller is known to be this guy that throws a lot of punches. Against Dubois, Dubois showed you, listen, I got some dynamite. You know, Dubois boxed well. You know, the biggest worry was once the avalanche came, how he would handle it. It came about 4th round, 5th round. And yeah, Dubois showed that he has enough composure to go ahead and deal with that storm.
Okay.
The stoppage, I wasn't against it. I didn't disagree with it. I mean, he was battering dude. You know, Jarrell Miller, looks like maybe there is a couple of screws knocked loose because he comes to South Florida a couple weeks later. He just got arrested a couple of days ago down here. So,
oh, okay.
You didn't hear about that?
No, not seeing that.
Yeah, I guess his car got repossessed, and
Okay.
basically he created he created a plan to get it back. So
We'll get
he
it
had
back.
had a girl do a little distraction, came behind the guy, put him in a chokehold, threw him down, and took his car back.
Wow. Fucking
Yeah.
hell.
So
I'm gonna be in trouble for that.
Yeah, definitely in some trouble. So yeah, Daniel Dubois. I'm proud, honestly, because I always felt he was a pretty good heavyweight, and people, you know, you see the 2 losses. Listen, he was winning that Joe Joyce fight. Like, people don't, but he got his eye broken. Like, I don't know if you guys ever watched Joe Joyce. He has a pretty mean, hard jab. Like, yo, just because these guys lose doesn't make them terrible, doesn't make them bad. Dubois and Joyce are still good heavyweights, you know? And Joyce beat Dubois. He was better that night. Could he do it again? Maybe. But Dubois proved to you that he does have heart, right? Just like the Joshua thing. Everyone wants to question that. And he's a good fighter. So shout out to Daniel Dubois getting the stoppage, right? Like you said, right at the last second. He's in the mix.
Back in the mix. Agreed. Hrgovic got a 1-round win. Don't need to worry about that.
That was embarrassing.
That was never going to be anything else. And Frank Sanchez also got a win over Junior Farr.
Yeah, beautifully set up.
Okay.